All right, shalom, shalom. Elder Boaz here. You know, I just now recently had a interesting conversation with somebody, and they asked the question, you know, why is it that you talk so much against debt? And they began to attempt to explain to me all the benefits of financing debt and all the things that you can accomplish as a result of leveraging the system. And believe you me, I get it. I understand. There are people out there that are very intelligent and deal with debt wisely, that is able to leverage this system in order to achieve their dreams, goals, and aspirations. The key difference between those people and the average American is that they know how to use this system wisely. See, many of the people out there, the average American, certainly the average Hebrew, doesn't know how to deal with debt wisely. Over 99% probably of the people do not know how to engage the system wisely as to where they can leverage the system and come out on top. And that's the reason why I speak against debt, because the average person needs to stay away from it. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to leveraging this system, and by far, I mean, I just stay away from it. I could not tell you the first thing about transactions and credit cards, and you know, all I know is debt, is interest attached to it, it's usury. It's not what the Most High or ordained us to be in, because the borrower is a servant to the lender. And how can you serve two masters? How can you be in so much hop to this system? Because a lot of people, they're in situations where, you know, when there is a downturn in this economy, they're going to lose everything. I was watching on Facebook, sister goes out, buys a beautiful spanking new home in the middle of the suburbs, and says clearly that she put no money down on this home, and is getting all types of likes and wow, beautiful home, and really? I'm a history buff, and I look at 2008, how everybody was getting these no down payment, no down payment, no paperwork loans, and it seems like it's all happening all again. And those who do not know history are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. I look at the stock market crash of 1929. I look at the fall of the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. I mean, you know, all of these empires is because of debt. I look at the fact that we're $23 trillion in debt, student loan debt, corporate debt, personal loan debt, business debt, government debt, municipal state debt, pensions. Everybody's in hop over their head, and this debt will never be repaid. And what happens is that the bankers, when there's defaults taking place, they take the real asset. They take the real asset. So if you finance the home for 30 years, not the interest that, $300,000, and you got a 3-4% interest rate. You know how much interest that is over the course of 30 years, 20 years? And let's say you default on the 29th year. Don't you know you don't get any of that money back? You don't get any of that money back. What if home prices collapse? People don't think about these kinds of scenarios that's taking place. They're just thinking about the shiny new home or the shiny new car or whatever it is that they want to get. You have these, credit repair services. I saw this one sister, and there are good services out there that really sincerely want to help you fix the issues that you've had. Because listen, you know, if you're going to be out there, you need a place to stay, you need a job, and a lot of jobs, you know, through background checks, they're not going to hire you if you have poor credit or you have a history of defaults. They're not going to hire you if you have a felony, or you're not going to get an apartment. And you need these things to live if you're going to function in this world. So this is why I say, you know, if you're not intelligent enough to deal with this debt, you shouldn't be getting involved in it at all. There's very few people that I know that are wisely leveraging debt in order to achieve a vision, a dream, a goal, an aspiration. They have revenue, they have income, they have a clear business plan. Many of you don't. Your business plan is a job. Your business plan is, you know, I'm going to pay this off in 30 years. That's what your goal, that's what the goal is. And you're not certain that job is going to be there in 5, 10, 15 years. This is why we say, you know, don't get into an extraordinary amount of debt. And if you are going to get in debt, pay it off as quickly as humanly possible. I mean, you know, the car I'm sitting in now, I financed. You know, there's a debt payment attached to it. But I ain't going to be in debt to it for a long time. And it's a needed asset because I'm making money off of it. So, see, the idea is that, you know, if you're going to get involved in this system, make sure that you can pay it off. Make sure that you have a clear plan to pay off this debt. Make sure that you're as self-sufficient as possible. Make sure that your plan is clear, is crystal clear, so that, you know, when times get hard, you know, they're not seizing your land, your cars, your homes. You know, I mean, it's a sad deal. It really is a sad deal out there. So, you know, we have to be more wise in how we deal with our finances. And because, again, you get into this debt and you have the pressure every month of paying all of these bills. And at the end of the day, you don't really own it. You know, a lot of people, they say, you know, they speak against, you know, buying land because, you know, they say, well, you never really own it because, you know, you don't have a loyal title and you'll always have to pay taxes on it. That's true. That's true. In the sense that, you know, I'll never really own my land because I'll always have to pay taxes on it. But, you know, a certain degree of taxes is reasonable. I don't pay I pay about $500 a year in taxes on this land. And, you know, I look at it as, you know, I mean, the roads got to be repaired. There's certain basic services that come along with those taxes that, you know, that is reasonable. To a certain extent is reasonable because I do want to drive down the roads. I do want a certain degree of local municipal public services that are available to me. You know, the library in town is very beautiful. I don't pay a fee. I pay it through the taxes. But I get to go to that library for free, and they don't charge me an interest fee. At least now they don't. So, you know, I mean, there's a certain justification for a minimal amount of taxes. And this is why I like living out in the country, because taxes are generally low. The more rural and the more country the setting, the lesser the taxes are. So you're going to have to learn how to live below your means. And, you know, believe you me, I mean, I can go out, get a 900 credit score and rack up all types of debt, and I'll have everything done, but then I'll be under that pressure every month to pay off that debt. And I just don't like that kind of pressure. Look at me. You'd be surprised how old I am. And I have about 1 or 2 gray hairs in my face. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? The lack of stress. That's what I personally believe it is, the lack of stress. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you look at a president. They get in office and 4 years later, their head is full of gray hair. You probably see a speck or 2 over here. Because I'm not in the, you know, I'm not stressed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I want to get done, and I want to get done now. But I realize that it's going to take time, savings, hard work, paying off a little bit here, paying off a little bit there. If I'm going to get into debt, all right, take on this one debt payment. Pay this off. And then, if I need to get into another little debt to get something, get into that and then pay that off. You know what I'm saying? Don't overextend myself to the point where I can't handle the situation. To the point where, if hard times come or if something happens or whatever, I don't have mechanisms in places to where we can at least make the minimum monthly payment. I mean, our expenses out here in the country is extremely low. It's amazing. Between the car and the car payment, that's probably half of my living expenses out here. I mean, it's amazing how I look at the actual living expense and it's just dirt, poor, cheap, low. And that's what I want. That's the way I like to keep it. Because all of that stress is not on me as a result of having to pay this debt payment, and that payment, this debt payment, I went and got a secure credit card where I pay that thing, off. And so I have, a card that I need to use, but I can use it wisely. Be wise about how you're going to go about dealing with debt. Be wise if you're gonna, get involved in this system, because I'm telling you, man, a lot of people, when this next collapse hit, when this next correction in the stock market hit and they lose their job, man, they're gonna lose everything. They're gonna lose everything. And it's just a sad deal to see. People, getting an extraordinary amount of debt. And they don't know what they're doing. Know what you're doing. Because the vast majority of people, you don't know what you're doing, and you need to stay out of these debt traps, because these banks, they're creating the money out of thin air and they're charging you interest on it. It changed my life totally when I found out where money came from. I mean, it just totally changed my perspective on everything. I felt cheated, I felt robbed, I felt abused by the system, because now I understand what this whole system is about. It's about enslaving the people through fiat currencies so that the rich get richer and the poor get poor, and they stay poor. That's how they make their money, out of thin air, through the charging of usury, which the Most High he ain't for it. And it's supposed to be even regulated with debt jubilees and things of that nature. But these bankers, there's not going to be any jubilee for you. They're going to take your home. They're going to take your cars. They're going to take your land. They're going to take whatever it is that you have. Because at the end of the day, you really don't own it. And what you can't defend and what you can't pay for, you don't own. Be wise. Be wise when it comes to dealing with this system, because it hurts my heart to see the amount of people out there that are struggling because they can't pay the student loans, they can't pay the credit cards, they can't stay the medical pay the medical debt. They're struggling to put food on the table, and it's a sad deal to see. And I wouldn't. Live below your means. Live simple. A lot of the people during the Great Depression that lived out in the country, they were fine. You know why? Because they grew their own food. They raised their own chickens. They slaughtered their own goats and cows and sheep. And they had a family. They had a tribe. They were together. And when you're in that kind of situation, you can pretty much weather any storm. You getting it? Get free from this system. Learn how to be self-sufficient and live simple, and I tell you, you will be blessed and you will be as stress-free as you humanly can if you do those things. Shalom. Have a blessed day.